Hi there everyone, Karen Barber here with Prayer Ideas, and today we have another great new idea for you on prayer. And that is all about guiding words that come to us in answer to prayer. Well, we love guiding words because those are replies from God that are going to tell us a step we can take, an action that will help us in whatever we're praying about or whatever's going on in our life. Well, let me read you a wonderful guiding word that Jesus gave to his disciples. And by the way, Jesus gave lots of guiding words to people all throughout the Bible. So here's what it says. It's in Luke 5:4-6. It says, "When Jesus finished speaking, he said to Simon Peter, 'Put out into the deep and let down your nets for a catch.' Simon answered, 'Master, we've worked hard all night and haven't caught anything. But because you say so, I will let down the nets.' When they'd done so, they caught such a large number of fish, the nets began to break." Well, don't you love that? That Jesus gave them these instructions, they followed them, and look at all those fish they caught. But here's the biggest thing about that is a miracle to me, not all those fish, but that Peter said, it's because you said so that I'll do it. And that's the whole idea behind guiding words, is it's because God told us to do it that we decide to do it. And so here's some guiding things that are going to help you along the way to do it, and do it in a way that's going to bring great results for you. All right, the first key thing is timing. When God sends you a word and it doesn't have a time frame on it, he means right now. And so do it as soon as you can, as soon as humanly possible. Now those disciples, obviously they needed to go get those fish now because the fish are already swimming. Let's get our net down there at the exact right time to get those fish in. So they needed to do it, and we need to do it today. Say God tells you, oh, I need to call a friend. Okay, he gives you this idea. Do it right now. Because it may be right now that your friend needs to hear from you, needs a word from God. Maybe they're going through a crisis. Maybe they're not feeling well. Whatever it is, call them right then, because timing is everything. The second thing is, don't second guess those words from God. And we all have something I call the mental shredder of objections. And what happens is God tells us to do something, and then we come up with all these reasons why we couldn't possibly do it. It's not going to work, etc. Now, I've gone to the trouble of writing up a little list here for Peter of the things he might have been thinking when Jesus says, okay, go out in the deep and throw down those nets again. And the first thing on here is something he actually says. He says, hey, we've done it all night and it didn't do any good, so why do you expect that it's going to work now? But here, I've made up some things. So maybe he said, I am so hungry. I haven't had breakfast yet. What's wrong with you? If I have something to eat first, I'm going to be better. I'm going to be able to do this. Or he might have said, I probably would have said this. I said, hey, looky here. You're a carpenter. I'm the fisherman here. I know better how to catch fish than you do. Well, I happen to be sitting right here with my wonderful mental shredder of objections. So I'm going to show you what it does with all of our words from God. And it's gone. All those words from God, this is what they look like at the end. Just a shredded mess of nothing. In fact, we use this to do secure documents because nobody will ever know what that word was that God sent you when you shred it up like that in your mind. So don't second guess. The next thing's kind of like it. Don't substitute anything for it. If God tells you to call somebody, and you say, well, no, I'll just send an email, don't have time to call right now, or I'm just going to send a text. That's different. And because it's different, maybe the call, you're going to get some insight and guidance and talking to the person that you're not going to get with the other way. So don't substitute any other kind of actions. Next thing is you have to do step one before you're going to get step two. Lots of reasons for this. Number one, step one is that trust step. So you can't substitute anything for trust. Second thing is that you don't really see step two a lot of times till you've taken step one. And the next thing about that is if God gave us step 1, 2, 3 through 6, we're going to skip a couple of steps because we say, oh, well, I've been there, done that, don't need to do all those steps. Another thing you're going to need to know is that even when you take that step, you're not going to get instant results because you just done step 1. You're on a journey. This is a process, so be patient and don't think that because you get that result right away that things aren't working. All right, and the next thing you need to know is that God may be leading you to a different destination than you really think you're going. Now, we all have in mind, okay, this is what God is going to do with me, but hey, you don't know until you get there. And I've had so many times when God's guided me to do something, I thought I knew why I was doing it. At the end, it was something delightfully different. But here's the biggest thing. This is the thing you really need to know. And that is that if you do not act on one of these guiding words, here's what happens. Absolutely nothing. Nothing happens if you do not go with that guiding word. Nothing changes in your life, nothing changes in the world, nothing changes in anybody else's life. You have basically taken a very good word from God, and you shredded it up, and it's gone, and it's in little pieces, and nothing's going to happen. So cherish those guiding words and use them to your benefit and to the benefit of the world. Well, let me tell you a really quick story of something that happened in my own life. I go on this morning prayer walk, and it's 7:30 a.m. I'm walking by a friend's house. All of a sudden, a young man emerges from the woods, and he doesn't look good. He's got this really pale face. He's a really skinny guy, and he's shivering because he doesn't even have a jacket on. And he's wearing these weird, look like garden clogs on his feet. And so this is really unusual. It doesn't look like the kind of guy I'd seen in the neighborhood. So he comes up to me. And of course, this is when I'm start looking for those guiding words and shooting up those arrows. Oh, Lord, what to say? And the first thing God tells me to say to this guy is, are you having a mental health crisis, or are you on drugs? And the guy, he says to me, no, ma'am. So he's a really polite guy. And so then he gives me this really wild story. He tells me that he was spending the night at friends, and a friend had to leave for work early, and they locked him out of the house, and now he needs a ride home to his grandma's house. And then he says, will you take me? Well, this is really why I need guidance. I mean, I'm not going to take this guy with this crazy story in my car. What's going to happen next? And so fortunately, God sends me a good guiding thought, and he says, I tell you what, I'll call a cab for you. I have my phone with me. So we need to have an address to call a cab. So here I am in front of my friend's house. So we walk over to her mailbox and we call from there. And then the guiding word tells me, well, just stay with this guy until the cab comes. So I stay there and we have a great conversation. And I really feel for this guy. I think of him, as somebody who really needs a mom, needs some guidance and help. Well, next thing you know, police cruiser comes up. Comes out, takes a young man, handcuffs him, puts him in the back of the police cruiser, and leaves. And I'm thinking, whoa, what just happened? So I call my friend, and here's what happened. Well, the night before, there was a police chase, and they were chasing these guys who were meth dealers, and they crashed on the dirt road behind my friend's house, and one of them got away barefoot into the woods. Been in the woods all night. He'd actually broken into my friend's house, into the basement, and gotten her gardening clogs. That's what he was wearing on his feet. And then what happened is he knocks on her door at 6:30 a.m. in the morning, and she's scared to death, and she won't let him in or anything. And so she calls 911, 6:30 in the morning. Here it is, 7:30 in the morning. I'm standing right there exactly at her address, at her mailbox, and the police drive up finally. How was I to know they were going to come up there? So you see, everything that happened there was God. Guide, putting me in a place I had no idea why I was there or no idea what I was doing. Well, that's the way guiding words work, and you're going to really want to have those that work in your life so that you can be of use to God in lots of situations like that. Well, visit us at prayerideas.org, and also go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And until next time, may God send you some wonderful guiding words that will change your life.